Hello to our guests. Welcome, Petrel parents. We are super excited to have you all with us. We will take just a second here to allow all of the attendees to flow in. It does take just a couple minutes. We want to give a huge welcome to everybody who's attending. We're so happy that you're joining us. We're really excited to tell you more about residence life and to answer your questions. We know you probably have many questions and thoughts about sending your baby to us, and we're really excited to welcome all of your students. We are here to answer your questions and address all of your concerns. So in just one moment, we will get started as soon as everybody's had a chance to join. I want to go ahead and highlight the Q&A button on your screen. You'll see a Q&A, and that is your ability to send us all of your questions. I highly recommend you send any questions you may have. You can start right now. We will not address them until a little bit later on in the webinar, but please feel free to send them now, and we will get to them in just a little bit. You do have the option to ask questions anonymously, but if you don't mind, we would ask that you don't, simply so that we can be sure to follow up with you after if we don't have time to answer every single question. We'd really like to follow up with you later on, so please feel free to use your name so that we can follow up. We will give just another second here. Let me get rid of that noise. My name is Kellie Butler. I'm the Associate Director of Admission, so I work in our admissions office. I'm also your students admission counselor if you're from certain parts of Georgia, North Carolina, the Northeast, or you have a homeschooled student. So I will be moderating today and posing your questions to the group. So again, please feel free to submit those questions anytime here. It looks like we've got most of our attendees here. So we will go ahead and get started to make sure that we have plenty of time to review everything and answer all of your questions. So right now I'm going to throw it over to our amazing Dean Palder.
Hello, everyone. I thought I'd be looking at faces, but I'm just looking at all the faces I already know, so that's a little disappointing. I just want to welcome you all. My name is Amy Palder. I am the Associate Dean of Students. I also teach sociology and women and gender studies. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I oversee residence life, student involvement, conduct, and just about everything that our Dean of Students doesn't want to handle. So that is who I am, and I look forward to getting to know all of you a bit more. And I'll turn over to Blake.
Hey everybody, Blake Petty. I am our Director of Residence Life. I oversee all of our RAs and CAs and kind of oversee our entire Residence Life department and kind of all of our day-to-day things that are associated with that. And I will let Natasha go.
Hi everyone, nice to virtually meet you. My name is Natasha Byrd. I am Associate Director of Residence Life, Health and Wellness. So a lot of my work is around health promotion and wellness and programming with Residence Life.
Hello, I'm Rachael Clark, the new Assistant Director of Campus Life. I have been in my role for about a week now, so I'm still learning, and I have a lot of learning left to go, but I'm excited for the fall.
Hi everyone, my name is Taylor Roberts. I am a student here at Oglethorpe, class of 21. I'm also the community advisor of Greek Row and student body president if you have any questions about how your children can get involved.
Hey everybody, I'm Erica Garez. I am class of 2023, a rising sophomore, and I am very involved on campus. I am in the symphony, I am in the programming, and I'm also in Greek life, so I have a lot of student experience. And I will also be an RA.
Kelly, you want me to take over now?
Yeah, I will just say again for anyone who is just joining us, and a few people just popped in, welcome to the webinar. Please send us your questions starting now. We will address them later on, so please use that Q&A button to send us any and all questions for the Residence Life team or two of our amazing students that you would like us to answer here live. We're going to give you a little bit of information now about some different things that are going on campus and some preparations for the fall, and then we will get into questions. So feel free to send us that, and I will go ahead and turn it back over to
Hey again. I'm really excited to do this session, although again, it is very bizarre not to be able to see your faces. This is a really scary time for a lot of you. You're sending your babies off to a university, and I'm sure you have a lot of questions and thoughts that are flooding your minds. And I am pretty good at my job, but what makes me really good at my job are the other people you're looking at this screen. We have combined a lot of time and experience in residence life. We know what we're doing. This isn't our first rodeo, and we are preparing rigorously for this fall. There is no, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, there is no secret. This fall brings with us some unique challenges, as evidenced by the fact we're conducting this via Zoom. But just because there are unique challenges doesn't mean we're not prepared and we don't have wonderful places and spaces for your students to both reside, to create community, and to meet other students. So I can go on and on about how wonderful my staff is, but I'd rather have them talk to you a little bit about what they do, what they oversee, and what your student can expect when they join us in the fall. So Blake, if you want to go ahead.
Hey, sure. And like I said, I'm our director of residence life. So what I do is I kind of oversee our department and all the aspects of it. I'm the one that just sent you all your housing assignments, or your students their housing assignments yesterday. So that has taken up the last really 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks of my life. I've really been hunkered down in getting those out. So I'm excited that those are out now. And I hope your students are as excited as well. One of the other big areas that I do is I'm in charge of our commuter programming as well. So I oversee all the commuter programming that we do and how to get them engaged, as well as our residential students engaged. My biggest aspect of my job is overseeing our RAs and CAs. So we have 6 CAs, which we call community advisors, kind of like a head resident. They oversee a certain area and oversee a group of RAs in that area, that residence hall specific. And they're kind of that go-to person, that go-to mentor for your students and for our RAs as well, to make sure that everything's going okay in the halls, both maintenance issues, but also roommate issues, or just, any kind of general thing. But they're also in charge of programming and doing, the fun things and stuff like that. So oversee them, and we have 24 RAs that live on campus and live in the residence halls with your students to help them navigate anything and everything. So I think Taylor and Erica can speak to the many questions that they are going to get and probably have gotten about a variety of topics around being in residence life and being in the dorms, but also, academic side, programming, and all those things like that. I also oversee 4 of our live-on staff. We have 4 live-in staff members from the Office of Campus Life. Natasha is one of them. And they serve in an on-call rotation to where 24/7, if something happens or there's an emergency or anything happens, we're there, and a staff member is dedicated to helping students through that issue or through whatever is going on. So they are a great team and a great resource for your students 24/7, as well as our campus safety department, who are also available 24/7. They really do a great job of keeping students safe and keeping them engaged as well. A little bit about residence life and about kind of an overview. We have 8 residence halls, most of the ones but we have 8 residence halls. We have 6 Greek houses up on Greek Row, a little over 800 residents. So that's a little bit newer. Last year we had just over 700. We have grown, and that's no thanks to all of you here. We have grown, and we have a little over 800 residents now. I'm very excited about that, and very excited to welcome everyone back to campus this fall as safely as possible, of course. The things that we do in residence life is assisting students, again, in everything. So there's a lot of programming, which Natasha will talk about here in a second. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. Like Taylor mentioned, she's a CA, but also the president of SGA. So we really encourage our students to get involved as much as possible. We have a ton of student organizations that students can be a part of. But overall, that is what I do, and that's kind of a little bit about our department. But I'll kind of let Natasha talk more about the programming pieces and things that she does.
Hi, Ian. I think Blake did a good overarching cover of things. There are generally over 100 programs that RAs are doing per year. So there are area programs that are crossing multiple areas. So maybe first years are interacting with upperclassmen, or there are programs for all first years. And also doing individual floor programs. Again, as Amy said, a lot might shift and look a little different with programming, that there will be some hybrids or smaller group programs or virtual programming. But the essence of that is this idea of community building and what that looks like. And so I think the great thing about the RAs is they have lots and lots and lots of hours of training and they can assist in so many different ways and end up being a great resource for your students, so that they know where to go on campus and who to talk to and, just how to interact. Another large area for me is health promotion and wellness. And like Res Life, it's kind of this co-curricular piece. So your students are on campus for academics, right? They're coming to get the education, but a second part of education is not just the academic piece, it's what they're learning outside of the classroom. And so we get to assist with a lot of that, which is super encouraging. I think students are oftentimes just learning and growing and developing. And so it's good to be, at least I love that part of being able to be a part of that journey. So health promotion and wellness, at least, is a lot of programs like Pause for Pause and our stress-free zone. So thinking about things that are going to be helping with busyness, helping with this idea of they're doing so much to academics and everything is busy, 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 go, go, go. But a big part of their life should also be, how do I take time for myself? How do I do self-care? All this stuff. So that's a growing area that we continue to focus on. Did that get at some of what? Okay.
I think that was great, Natasha, spot on. And those are the two primary staff people in Residence Life. As Rachel introduced herself before, I'm not gonna put her on the spot. Fundamentally, what she's going to do, she will be the liaison between Residence Life and student involvement, and been doing a lot of work with conduct and things like that. So for purposes of today, I just wanted you all to see her face, because she will be the front face of Campus Life, but we'll give her a minute to learn the specifics of what it is we need her to do. So with that, I'll turn it over to Taylor, or are we just gonna go to questions, Kelly?
Let's go to questions, but I don't want to put our students on the spot like right now, since I just thought of this. But if you guys want to think of, for maybe the end of the webinar, a piece of advice that you would like the students to know when it comes to coming to campus, either whether that's living on campus or getting involved, that's always something I like to share before we go. So we can't do that later, but we can go ahead and jump into questions. So we have a lot of questions about some logistics, about moving in and what to bring, and that's a lot of information that we're going to make available to your students well before it's time to move in. They have their handbook on our Moodle course. If any of you are not in the Moodle course, which they probably are, that's probably how you found out about this, but they really need to be as soon as possible. Lots in there. But we can talk on the questions that we have.
Just so you know, Kelly, you're fading in and out, so I don't know if it's where your speaker is, but some of it you might want to repeat a little bit, because some of it didn't come through so clearly. Sorry to interrupt you.
Good to know. No, that's good to know. The overarching message of that was just make sure your students are checking Moodle for all the announcements, but we'll get into some of these questions. So here's a question from an anonymous attendee. So what if a student wanted to change their replacement or roommate? What would be their steps if they were thinking of potentially doing that?
Sure. If someone's curious to change right now, or wants to change their building, or something like that, feel free to just email us. It's residencelife@oglethorpe.edu, and we can work with you individually to discuss getting on a wait list to change a building. We ask for roommate specific things to reach out about what your concern might be. As mentioned in the email yesterday, we try not to do roommate switches during the summer. If it's in your suite, so there's times where a 4-person group might be together, but you didn't get the exact roommate you wanted, maybe they're your suite mate, we can make that work very easily. But we try not to do roommate switches now unless we need to. But if you have a question or want to change or get on a wait list to do that, feel free to email us and we'll work with you directly and individually to make that work.
We try not to do them over the summer because we believe part of the growing process is for students to move into spaces and get to know new and different people. Often they're really surprised that they've made their best friend that they initially might not have thought would have been someone with whom they were going to be great buddies with. Now, I do want to say clearly, if you have any real concerns, we are nothing if not flexible. So Blake already said it, but I want to re-emphasize, just email residencelife@oglethorpe.edu and let's talk through your specific concerns. While we try very hard to stick to our policies because it's imperative to us that we're fair and equitable to all our students, we want to make sure you feel heard and that we're adapting and adjusting in any way that we need to.
All right, so moral of the story is definitely reach out. residencelife@oglethorpe.edu and also talk to our counselor. So please feel free to talk to us. Stephanie asks, seeing that rooming assignments went out and 4 are being placed in a room, so in some cases, what's the level of comfortability for that in this COVID-19 space we are still operating in? So we have suites of 4 people. What does that mean to us? How are we addressing that in the climate that we're in?
I think that's a fantastic question, and if it didn't come up, I would have absolutely been shocked. We are so involved in COVID-19 planning. Candidly, we don't know what we don't know. So we are planning for things as they are, things as they may change, and we may have to adapt and we may not. Currently, we are following all guidelines. We have 4 separate COVID-19 task force, one which is dedicated specifically to facilities, housing, making sure we're doing appropriate social distancing, what spaces are appropriate to hold so many people. Blake sits on that committee. Natasha and I sit on a programming kind of committee of what does making community and interacting look like with these new constraints. There is an academic committee. What do classrooms look like to make sure we're in compliance? And we're still fleshing some of that out. So I don't want to articulate that we have all the answers today. We are certainly asking all the right questions. So regarding how comfortable are we with our current housing situation, we're very comfortable because we've done the work. We've put in protocols. We're increasing cleaning protocols within the suites. We are empowering and sort of modifying RA, residence assistant, and CA jobs to just not be programming, but also be mindful of safety protocols. We are also looking at and reevaluating what roommate contracts look like. When students move into spaces, they say, you know, what's our deal? Like, how are we going to make sure we're cool living together? So we learn to be respectful and incorporating in those roommate contracts, what does cleanliness and safety look like? How are we holding each other accountable? And another thing that just comes to the top of my mind is we're also working on a community social contract. We all have a commitment to keep each other safe. So what's our pledge to keep Oglethorpe safe? So everything from the macro at the community level to the micro in the housing level, in your room, we're thinking about all of it. And right now, I think that we are doing absolutely everything right and the way it should be. And if things change, then things will change. So we are listening, following, and learning and making sure we are doing best practices, because the number one concern for all of us is safety, and not just saying safety, but making sure all of our constituents feel safe. That's our students and their staff and our faculty. So again, I'm going to end on the same thing that I always say. If you have specific concerns, let's chat about that and just email us and let us know, because this is a dialogue and it feels very different to different people. And I want to lean into that and hear that. So I'm not dismissing that we are in a COVID-19 environment, but I think it's an ongoing dialogue to see. It's June, we've got a few months. So we'll just continue talking. Anyone on my team have anything that I left off that covered it? Okay, good.
Okay, I'm going to stay in that lane for a second here, and I'm asking questions that are kind of similar. So Leanne asks, if we're uncomfortable with 4 people in a room, or people in suite, I say. Can we change to being non-residential? So that's kind of part one. B, somebody's also asking, does my son have choice if he wants to take online classes because we're worried about his exposure since he has higher risk? So folks wondering, could I be non-residential if I have specific concerns? And same thing, can I be online? That might be a question for a different group, but can I stay home if I'm concerned about this?
Yeah, I think for those that are in a 4-person suite and maybe have a roommate or maybe you have a single, it might just depend on where you are. If you have concerns about that, reach out to us and let us talk to you about what we're doing. As Dean Potter mentioned, we're doing a lot of in-suite cleaning and regular cleaning in the residence halls. I'm sure many of you have seen in the news where they have those big fancy foggers that spray on everything and kill the virus. We purchased I think 8 or 10 of those that our facilities team is going to be using daily in the residence halls and in common areas. And then they're also going to increase that cleaning inside the in-suite bathrooms and in-suite rooms. But if you have a concern, reach out to us and let us know. And we can work with you for making sure we meet your request or to either help calm your nerves or figure out what's the next best step for you and your student. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the mantra for us is we want to help you with your individual concerns and your individual needs. And that's what we're here and that's what we're set up to do.
I think that's right. Was there anything, did I hear something about a classroom or did I not? What was the question, Blake, or any of you? I couldn't hear the classroom.
Yeah, it was about online classes. So, I mean, similar, it would be, again, they're not living on campus, and we can talk about the online class thing individually if you want to send us an email, but sounds like the same thing, wondering if they could live off campus. Okay, we can switch gears a little bit here. This one maybe our students could answer. So Stacy says, my daughter and her roommate want to decorate their rooms in Dempsey with tapestries and string lights. Is this allowed? So in terms of decorating and maybe making holes in walls and things like that, what's the rules?
So as far as the string lights and the tapestries goes, you can definitely use those. I had those, and yeah, they're really good for decoration, if I do say so myself. But as far as candles go, you can't have any of those, but you can have wax warmers. You can also have like those misters that are water misters. Those are very good, but basically anything like not flammable is great.
I am laughing because Natasha has a whole array of very fragrant misters and
Essential oils, they're my jam.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was like, who's eating an orange right now? But it's, you know, I enjoy it. Every day is a new adventure.
I would say the biggest thing to note with decorations is trying not to damage the walls, obviously, so you don't get charged. Command strips are your friend. If you have a Sam or a Costco or a box store near you, they sell them in bulk, and they are great things to purchase for your students, for them to hang on the walls and to use to hang up anything that they want, whether that be picture frames, tapestries, the string lights, anything like that. Those are great, and they don't damage the paint, and so that's really good.
And like Kelly said, you all will get that information just as far as like list of what to bring, what not to bring, sizes for mini fridges, things like that. So that'll be provided to you in advance.
Perfect. And we definitely encourage making the room pretty and making it the students' own because we want it to feel like home. So as long as they are within the rules, please go as wild as you want. All right. So this is a clarification question of what we were just talking about. So always good to clarify. Just to clarify, is Oakthorpe now allowing off-campus because of COVID? It was my understanding that living on campus was mandatory. So what we've been mentioning is that our housing policy has not changed in the large scale, but we want to work with folks individually if they have specific concerns. We're willing to be flexible, so we know these are not normal times. So do you want to reach out and communicate your concerns? If you have a specific situation with discuss with us, we are definitely open to hearing that. What would you guys have to add?
I would add, this is an atypical year, and we want you to be safe and feel safe. So, but I'm also a believer in policy. We have policies in place because we believe in the things we do. We believe in living on campus and building community, but if that doesn't feel right this year, then Blake or Natasha can talk about the exemption process. So you would apply for, and most likely there are some exceptions to this, but you would apply to be exempt. And if you don't fall under the 3 codified reasons for being exempt, which is, I think, married, over 21, and already having lived on campus for 3 years, I think is it, but you can correct me, then we would deny you. And then you go through an appeal process, and that sounds really scary, but don't. And you literally just state your reasons for why you don't think this is the right place to be for this year. And then again, we evaluate it on a case-by-case basis. And so far my experience has been people are really honoring what people feel they need to do this year to be comfortable. So there isn't a blanket policy regarding you living off campus, but we're really listening to what you're saying, what your reasons are, and trying to navigate those spaces. Does that make sense? Thanks for nodding. Kelly, you're muted.
I'm going to move in a moment because I'm getting some things in the Q&A that I'm having connection issues, but I'll pose this question first. My son is going to Goodman. What is the status of the renovations? So what should the student expect when it's move-in time?
Okay, sorry, I tried to click unmute and then stopped my video there, so my fault. But Goodman is moving along just as planned. So the plan was for Goodman to be done at the 1st of July. As of right now, they are still on track to finish. For those of you that are curious, the way Goodman's going to work is Goodman has 2 wings, a left wing, a right wing. We're going to call them 1 floor and 2 floor, but it's really just all 1 floor. And the way they're going to work is they're individual bedrooms. So there's 2 people, they're double rooms, 2 people to a room with a common bathroom in the middle. So there's 1 common bathroom per side, so it'll be single gendered. And so 2 people in a bedroom, they are set up with brand new furniture, brand new amenities. They're really, really nice. Got to sneak in there the other day and see what they're looking like, and they're really, really coming along. But they do have 2 common bathrooms with separate shower stalls, separate toilet areas, and then a sink in the middle for plenty of space for everybody. One of the coolest things about Goodman that I can't wait for is the common area of Goodman. It's huge, and that's something that's going to be really exciting to be able to have this big space, both for social distancing, but also for a community gathering and being able to use an indoor-outdoor space to interact with other students and to have that space to hang out in. So Goodman is going along, and we're really excited to open that in the fall and have it ready for everybody.
Perfect. All right. Hopefully my connection is better now. So we have a question in here. How do we know who my daughter's RA is? So maybe we can talk about when students will find out who their RA is, and then also have our students join us and let us know just a little bit about how the incoming students get to know and what the process is of building that community in their hall and in their building.
Like, do you want to talk about how they'll find out who their RA is? And then I'd like to ask Taylor and Erica to maybe talk about how they plan on connecting and engaging with their residents. Well, Taylor, I know it's a little different for you, but you can speak to it a bit.
Yeah, I think one way that you'll find out who your RA is, there's some RAs that are joining the band. And so I think if your students have joined the band, they'll meet RAs or other RAs through that. And get to interact with them through the different floors and different things like that. So that'll be the first way. The second will be is on move-in day itself. Your RA is going to be there, honestly, helping you move in and being ready to check you in and all that kind of stuff And so your RA will meet you day one, minute one that you are on campus. You'll get to meet your RA and start having that connection with them. So there's kind of a couple different ways, but some through the band and then some when they arrive to campus in the fall.
So, hello everyone again. I am the community advisor of Greek Row, and Greek Row doesn't have any freshmen, but I was once a freshman RA and greeting many students like yours. And like Blake said, we have the floor meeting when students first arrive, and that's a way that RAs get to establish policy and get to know their residents by doing things like asking what their favorite candy is, just trying to get a feel of the room. And then programming starts to expand on those same themes that happen within the floor meeting. Programming can be anything from an RA being outside handing out coffee on the first day and giving them tips on studying, to other things that address kind of our social concerns. So anything from having conversations on microaggressions or how to be a better community member. And then there are also administrative items, just like checking rooms and making sure that students are okay, that allow RAs to stay connected and seeing people around campus, really. They're a student just as we are, so greeting them and being there for them are the tenets of our job.
Yeah, and so like she said, I really just got hired into the RA position, so I'm kind of new to this, but I've known a lot from my own RA and RAs, and for this year I'm going to be the RA for the Schmidt third floor. So if any of your kids are there, I'm going to be their RA for Schmidt third floor, and I'm really excited. And I plan on doing a lot of things for programming and getting to know the students one-on-one, because that's like one of my favorite things about my RAs. And they would like pass out candy, they would hey, how are you doing on campus? And they would visit, because you'd have to check the rooms every once in a while and ask how you're doing, and just like community things, so that everyone's like making a community together with each other and being friends and being friendly and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. And one plug I would like to make real quick is there is an event this Friday that's going to be for incoming students. It's going to be a virtual hangout with a bunch of different RAs and CAs at Building Pacific. So your students can sign up through the Moodle course. So they need to be checking Moodle Friday afternoon, and they'll be able to meet a bunch of different RAs and CAs to the building. So not everybody will be there, but it's a great way to meet both incoming students that will be in their building and RAs. So we really encourage them to do that. It's going to connect and be a lot of fun. I have a question from Dennis. What type of security is on campus? Are there university police? So what type of security should parents be aware of on campus?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned it a second ago, but we do have campus safety on campus. They are not a police. They are campus safety presence. They are a third-party entity that is trained in campus response. They're called G4S, and they always have 2 officers on site at all times. And then we have a director of campus safety, Dwayne Smalls, who oversees them and oversees all the different officers there. So they are there 24/7. During the day, so between 7 a.m. and 9:30 p.m., they are out walking across the campus and helping and assisting students, faculty, staff, guests, anybody that comes to campus while the campus is open. So campus is open 7 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. After 9:30, the campus closes, so our gates shut down, the gate to Peachtree shuts down, and we have one posted campus safety member in the gatehouse at all times, and they're responsible for those coming in and out. So a student can come in and out as much as they please with their Petrel pass, but guests must be registered to come in and out. So if a student has a friend coming, or if you are coming to visit them after 9:30, then they must call ahead and let campus safety know that you'll be coming through the gate, and then campus safety will let them in, assuming they go to the right area. But that is who's there. They are great, and we really appreciate everything that they do. But you will see them a lot. They, like I said, they are always around and walking around and helping and stuff like that. So that's what you could expect. You just went on mute, Kelly.
Keeps muting me. All right. So how many meals are provided each day?
One of the students, y'all want to answer about meal service and dining?
So during the week, Monday through Friday, they always have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast is as early as 8, if I'm not mistaken. 7, there you go. And it's been a minute. And they also have late night Monday through Thursday, which is from 9 to 11. And on Fridays, they don't have late night. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they are also serving food. The schedule is a bit different on the weekends. I think it's a little bit later. Instead of breakfast, they do brunch, and then they end around dinner, I assume. And yeah, that's what they serve. They're pretty much always open anyways. If they're not serving food, they always have snacks out. So that's always an option as well.
And we don't count swipes. So, it's not as if you can only come in, eat a little bit, and leave. Your students will come and go. All right, let's see another question. So if you folks are wondering, they got their assignment, how do I tell what floor I'm on, what room I'm in, things like that? So maybe just a general overview of interpreting their housing assignment.
Sure. So I think I saw the question was about Dempsey. So Dempsey's kind of our one unique building of, it has a number and a letter. So Dempsey is A through D for the floors. A is floor 1, D is floor 4. And the room number corresponds to the room number. And then inside there, so if they're A to A, they're A room inside of the first floor. The rest of them are more of kind of what you would consider maybe in a hotel of first floor is the 100s, second floor is the 200s, or 10 or 20. Again, if you're thinking about the upper quad. The only exception to that rule is Goodman. Like I talked about earlier, we kind of are calling them 1 and 2, even though it's all one level. If you're on the 100 side, that is to the left. If you're on the 200 side, that's to the right. But again, it's all really one level. It's just a way to distinguish between the two. So for the most part, they go by number, but for Dempsey, it is a little odd. So A through D, 1 through 4.
Okay, we have a question about move-in day. So I know it's a little bit different this year. You don't have all the answers, but the question is, what is the plan for September 4th? Do we move them in and set up, and then is there an activity or program for parents to do before leaving? So how involved will parents be on move-in day?
You get to cry. We give you Kleenex. We have not figured out all the logistics of move-in day. We used to do it in a very concentrated time period. We will not be doing that this year. We will figure out the logistics of how to not have mass concentrations of people in any one place, and that'll fall to the Res Life team to figure that out. So it will be sporadic here. You will get, my anticipation is, you will get a set time to move in. You will assist your student to move in, and then parents will, you can take your student to lunch or breakfast or something like that. We will do a little different this year. We'll probably have some residential programming to get them acclimated, give them time to move in, get to meet their RA, figure that out. And then we will have an event for students Friday night with their orientation beginning, main orientation programming beginning Saturday and Sunday and leading into Monday.
Okay, and there are quite a few questions in the Q&A about testing, if that's going to happen for COVID, what happens if somebody comes down with it. And I know that we probably don't have all of the information for that quite yet, but I also don't want folks to think we're ignoring those questions. So does anybody want to mention anything about anything we do know, or when we're letting folks know some of those details, or anything that we can offer at this time?
We are talking to different healthcare facilities to look at testing options. So we are investigating what makes sense, how to get our students tested and what that might look like. We do think that we are providing PPEs, masks for students. So that is something you can bring your own, but we will be providing that. You faded in a little bit, so tell me if I've missed any of these other questions. One place that it's super important to watch is we have a COVID-19 webpage that is now getting updated fairly regularly. So as things change or as we know more, that's where the information will be housed, along with Residence Life will continue to update via communication as we know things or we have suggestions of things to bring or to have. You will also get emails via the Residence Life mailbox. So I don't have definitive answers regarding the hows and the whens. I can tell you that these are all conversations. We have another task force meeting, I think, Thursday, another day this week. These are all on the list of things to do. We do have designated spaces. If we do have an infection, we're dealing with what are the proper protocols and processes. Should someone be infected? When will we be considering self-isolation? How can we guarantee delivery of meals and making sure that they are safe? How can we make sure that they're still getting access to their class and classwork so they're not falling behind there? All the questions you have, I know you will still have concerns, and that's your job. And send us any that you are still concerned about, but know that we are asking those questions and thinking about the best strategy and way to implement them in our community. The good news is we live in the same city as the CDC. Our Vice President of Campus Life has been doing this for over 25 years and is very well connected and serves on a lot of other task force. So we are availing ourselves of the best practices of other institutions. Some are already in school, so we are not above beg, borrowing, and stealing. If they find something, that's great. How do we bring it here? So as I said in the beginning, and I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, we are very vigilant of how to keep our community safe. It's in everyone's best interest, from where do we need plexiglass and where are we having hand sanitizers, and to where are we putting X's on floor to make sure in the classroom chairs don't get too close together. So we're erring on the side of overly cautious, documenting what we're doing, and happy to answer the answers that we have. Again, we can't commit to things on June 9th, what it will look like in September 4th, but we can commit that we are constantly revisiting and modifying based on what's happening in Atlanta and in Georgia.
Okay, so stay tuned. A lot of things are changing very rapidly, but as we have announcements and updates, we will make them available. So keep checking that page. We'll keep communicating with you all as well. Somebody asked, rooms have locks, right? And students have keys, question marks. So maybe you can mention how the security works in terms of dorm buildings.
Sure. Yes, and there's more. So that's the best way to say that is for almost all of our residence halls, they have a key, like your Petrel pass will get you into your building. So for Dempsey, for Traer, for Johansson, for Goodman, your Petrel pass will get you into your building. And then you'll have a physical key for your door and for your bedroom. So for Dempsey, I'll use that as an example. You get your Petrel pass that will get you into your door. You get a key that will get you into your front door of your room, and then you have another key. It's the same key, but another door that locks that gets into your bedroom. So technically 3 layers of security there. Traer's a little bit different. If you've kind of seen pictures of Traer, it's that internal quad. So it's a Petrel pass to get in, and then a key to get into your suite. So yes, you do have a key, but you also have your Petrel pass, which is super important to gain access in and out of the residence halls.
Great. Another question is, what is the process of becoming an RA? Maybe our students want to mention the process that they went through to become an RA with us.
Yeah, so there is an application process in the spring. You fill out a general application, and then we have an interview day that's comprised of team interviews in the earlier part of the day, and then an individual interview. And after, RAs are really decided based on how the individual works in a team setting as a larger RA team, but also within a specific area, and CAs work with Blake and Natasha and Dean Palder in order to create their teams and get new RAs each year.
Perfect. Okay, a couple questions about parking passes. So how are parking passes assigned? How do students get them? Are they done by dorm or otherwise?
Parking passes are handled by Director Smalls, who's the Director of Campus Safety. He will send out more information a little bit later in the summer. Students self-select what zone, and there is a map on the parking website, so I think it should still be there, that tells you the different locations. Students ideally would pick a zone nearest their residence halls, but there are not always as many spaces by the residence halls as there are cars. So we try to do it as fair and equitably as possible. Our parking is, I don't remember what it is a year, but I do know we're the cheapest in Atlanta. So I can say that. Parking is a pain point on our campus. You know, I've gone to a couple schools in Atlanta, and it's almost always a pain point because you can never park exactly where you want to. But Smalls will send that out. Student can pick their zone. You can put it on your credit card, and you put the decal. You can buy a semester or for a year, and you put it in the front of your car window, and all is groovy with the world when everyone parks where they're supposed to park.
Yeah, and it's typically under $100 for parking, usually between 35 and 75. So it's very affordable, especially like Dean Paul. When you look at let's see here, some more questions. Are dorm assignments for the year or the semester? If they want to move to a different building second semester, can that happen?
Yeah, so they are for the year. So they last from now through May. If students want to move after basically the first month of school, we do allow room changes to happen, which might look a little different with COVID-19, but we'll address those as they come up. But yes, they fill out a form and work with Natasha about how room changes go through, and they'll work through why they need a room change, if it's a roommate issue or if it's a dorm issue or a financial issue or whatever it is. They'll work with her on that. That same process happens between semesters as well. So if a student wants to move in between semesters, then we work with them for that. Of course, it's not a quick process, but we will work with you in the fall to make that work.
But yes, generally your assignment is for the full year. Those moves we might have 40 or so for the whole year. Those are kind of the exception. It's not like your spot becomes unavailable or a different spot once December hits. So.
Okay, maybe this is a good one for our students. With dorm assignments coming out yesterday, all the kids are excited, yay. Can you guys suggest, based on experience, what they should be buying now versus what items to wait to purchase closer to the move-in date? So, you can interpret that question, but what are some must-have items that you, from your experience, they should have, as soon as possible, or at least when moving time comes, versus what things they make you wait on?
Yeah, this is the fun time in which you can contact, or your kids can contact their roommates and decide the color scheme of their room. So this is the time to be creative. I was buying my tapestry and my sparkly lights at this time. And I also think something that I was mindful of, because I'm from Chicago and that's where I live, I didn't buy any of those larger objects until I got to school. There's also so many resources around Oglethorpe. There's a bunch of different types of stores, so it could be encouraging to shop local. And you also never know what you may need during the process, but just generally I got the essentials at this time. Anything that I was using at home, I kind of started preparing to use at Oglethorpe.
I would say some of the things that have helped the most for me has been like, extension. Never know where those plugs are. And what are those things called again? The things that help you stick things to the wall, like tape and stuff. You can't put any thumbtacks in the wall. Those are really
Command
not good.
hooks.
Yes, command hooks. And other things that helped, like don't forget a trash can. Do not forget a trash can. And because I did, all of us did. All of our roommates, we forgot it, and we were kind of screwed for about a week. And some of those things or like cleaning supplies can be bought fairly recently while you're there at school. Just know that you don't have to bring everything at once. You can always go out shopping within those first couple weeks of school and trying to get used to your area, get used to your roommates, get used to your dorm. It's an experience for sure, but it's real fun. And just don't freak yourself out. You have enough time even during school.
I would say if they want to buy something now, go with bedding because you're gonna need that no matter what. You're gonna need it day one, so it could be a thing not to get your key bedding. So that was the first thing I bought way back when. Let's see. Leanne asked, "Is there a what to bring list?" There is. I'm going to put the link to it in the general chat so everybody can access. But it's also on the website and it will be in a handbook and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat in just a second so everybody can look at it. Let's see. Kathy asked, if my son's roommate decided to move out early or after the month, she said, will my son be charged as a single if they couldn't find him a new roommate?
Well, that would be a great way to make extra money. We would never charge your child extra because of something that they did, or they didn't do. So if someone moves out, you would not be charged a single rate at all. We reserve the right as a member of the community to put someone else in that space if there is a desire. So the only time you're charged more is when there is that request to have a single versus you just fell into a single. So no worries there.
All right, time for just a couple more questions. Ms. Lemons asks, in the Schmidt Hall third floor, are those double or quad rooms, and are they single beds or bunk beds? So maybe there's more than one answer to that question, but what would be the layout for our Schmidt third floor rooms?
So they actually are changing, so that's a fun thing. So they used to be quads, a few of them did. They're now all going to be doubled. So there'll be, if you might have seen the pictures online, and some of the pictures online show a single room. They're basically going to look the same, just quite a bit bigger to be a double room. And the cool thing about when we're doing the renovations on that third floor is they're going to have options for that bed to either bunk or to not bunk. So most of the time right now, the beds don't, and they won't, they are a bed and your desk and stuff like that, and they do not bunk, but there will be an option to loft those in those new renovated spaces for next year. So they are going to change just a little bit. And our goal right now is to kind of get some of that stuff up on our website as soon as possible so you guys can see it as soon as that stuff is done. But since it is changing, it kind of just looks like a war zone right now. So we'll wait just a minute and then we'll get some stuff up there for you guys to see what it'll look like.
Also about bunking and lofting your beds, I would always wonder how to do it. And the thing is, when you bunk and loft your beds, do not do them yourself. You're supposed to ask your RA first, and your RA will get people from maintenance to do it for you, because if you do it yourself, you might hurt yourself, and you have to ask your RA first. So.
Okay, can family members visit students anytime?
Simple answer, yes.
Question. The answer is yes. The question is, do they want you to visit anytime? So that's between you and your student. But yes, we do not have any policies that prohibit you from coming to visit your student.
All right, so we are almost out of time. There are still a lot of questions in the chat, and we will be following up after the fact. Counselors follow up with these questions. A lot of them are about the room layouts and things that are provided in each room. I would definitely suggest checking the Resident Life website. There's a lot of information there about what you need to bring, what's provided, the layout of rooms, things like that. So that might be able to answer your question by checking the website. But if you have any more specific questions, please reach out to the Resident Life staff or your student admission counselor. We are very happy to help as well. With our last couple of minutes, I would love if our panelists could just share a quick word of advice or thought that they'd like to send out to parents and students before we go. But generally, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We will send more info out, and please keep questions coming. We can start with Dean Butler, if you want to give a word of advice or thought to the group.
My advice is, this is a scary time to let your child go off to college, but this is a great time. And the best thing I say to parents, and some listen and some don't, is let them go. They are going to have a wonderful opportunity, and we are really good at taking care of your student. You sent them to Oglethorpe because we are a small university that is high touch. We know our students. We know their strengths. We know their weaknesses. We have RAs always there ready to assist, help, watch, engage if they're struggling a bit, not connecting with folks, but give your child an opportunity to thrive. Give them the chance to find their own voice and their own space. And then if you're struggling, contact me, right? So I am happy to work with you, but I am a passionate believer that this is a time for your student to learn to navigate their space and find their voice. So let them advocate for their wants and needs and know that they have a super receptive audience to that. That is a skill set. You come to university to learn academics, but you also come to university to learn how to be an adult. That's why we're there. That's why we love what we do. We are here to help shepherd and encourage your student to grow. And I just respectfully ask that you trust us and work with us, because I think we're all working towards the same end of having your child have a wonderful experience and being better for having come to Oglethorpe.
For me, I would say, and I think this has been kind of my mantra throughout this whole time, is if your student or if you have questions, reach out to us. I know it's odd with this remote time where, we might not be in the office, but I have a cell phone sitting next to me that I have all the office numbers forwarded to. We have our email on our phones. We are here and willing to help. So if you have questions, if you have concerns, if you just want to, ask about if you can bring X, Y, or Z to campus, reach out, talk to us. I think what Dean Butler said is we are very high touch, and we want to be, and that's why we all work here at Oglethorpe. We want to have that interaction with your students on a day-to-day basis. So reach out as much as you need to, and we're here to answer those questions and to help with whatever your concerns are, whether they be COVID-19 related or not. That's what we're here for. And especially not being on campus, we're looking for that connection with you guys. So we're here. So reach out.
I would say be comfortable with the uncomfortable, be comfortable with the awkward. We're asking your students to stretch and grow. And in that means you might have to stretch and grow to help encourage them. They're having conversations about roommate concerns and do we clean the toilet and how much and how often, and they're going into detail, pretty graphic detail with concerns and setting boundaries and all of these things. And so that takes some stretching on their part. So you all might have to do the same, because they might be coming to you and asking questions or asking for advice as well.
I would encourage parents on move-in day to let their student take the lead on unpacking and setting up the room that they want it. I think it's a parent's natural feeling to want to get in there and unpack and set things up. But really letting your student take the lead on that will give them a sense of ownership and a sense of belonging in a space that they're going to live in for the next year. It's already weird times. It's already challenging for them. So let your student take the lead on that, and they'll guide you in what they want their room to look like.
My advice to students is to be strategic with their time. I'd encourage all of your kids to get involved. And by being strategic with their time, not only like, being super active in academics and at Oglethorpe, but also to care for themselves. And I guess this also applies to parents as well. Be strategic with your time because times are changing and your kids are leaving. So make sure that you do the things and make memories that you want from this time to happen.
My piece of advice for parents first is to, again, like Blake, do not be afraid to reach out. I have always reached out to people through email, through walking into their office and asking a question. I've always done that, and I've always gotten a good answer back. And just if it's anything at all, even if you email the wrong person by accident, they will forward that email to a person that will help you. They are very helpful, I promise. And for students, I would suggest really just be open to more experience and get involved. Get involved with the campus and, get involved in clubs and activities and things like that, because we do offer you a lot of things to do here. As someone on programming board, we do give a lot of activities to do for you guys so that you can enjoy your time here. So yeah, just get involved. It's really easy.
Awesome. Thank you to our panelists so much for being here and for taking questions and for sharing your experiences. And thank you to you, our parents. You are all amazing and we appreciate your time. Please let us know what other questions you have. You will be hearing from us moving forward. We have recorded this webinar. If you missed any of it, we're happy to send you the recorded version. But thank you to everyone. We hope you have a really great rest of your evening and we look forward to seeing you in the fall.